and welcome to another episode of Moving Picture Massacre. This is episode 15 or so. It's 15. It's not an or so. This is episode 15, and we're stoked to talk to you about a 1997 horror film that is loosely based on a Lovecraft short story, which we'll get into a little bit more later. But the name of this film is Bleeders, this is probably one of the coolest VHS cases ever, in my opinion, because it actually has some blood you can swirl around in there. That's fantastic. Kind of cooler than the movie, to be honest with you. But like I said, this movie is called Bleeders, or it could also be called The Descendant, or it could also be called Hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin.
There it is. Like the blood things, similar. Funny thing about that other name, actually, I'll get into that later. Anyways, yeah, let's talk about this movie we've never seen. Ricky, tell me what you thought about this movie, just overall.
This is a prime example of, I'm going to change it to VHS terms. Don't judge a film by its slipcover, because this movie was pure dog shit, and that is one of the best slipcases I've ever seen. First thing, like, the guy John, I just have to throw this out here before I pass it over to Matt, but that guy John, the best way I could describe him to someone who's never seen the movie is if Eric Draven was part of the Twilight family.
Yes.
That's the best way to describe that guy.
Yes.
But before we jump into the movie, Matt, what did you think?
Well, first off, I'm going to agree with you on that, because watching it, I was like, this is a sick Edward Cullen. Like, that's what he is. He's a terminally ill vampire. Fantastic that you thought the same thing. I agree with you 100%. The movie sucked, but the cover is awesome. I literally, when I bought this movie, I bought it based on a picture on Instagram. I saw the cover and I was like, that movie looks so badass, and it's not. And if Tom's got the premiere cover, like I want that one. I don't want to really buy the movie again, but I want that one. But this is what it looks like under it. And when I seen these monsters, I was like, okay, I'm in. I need this movie. And unfortunately, it just didn't play out for me. I have the movie, and now I'm like, okay, great. With saying that, though, it's a really bad movie, and I will show my friends. So,
Exactly.
Tom, yeah.
And to go over what this movie is just a little bit, we're going to read the back like we normally do for you guys. So, the family that breeds together bleeds together is the top here. So that's got to tell you something. I didn't realize how incestuous this movie was from looking at the box, but it got to a whole nother level. So their story began over 3 centuries ago with a horrifying tale of incest and hedonism. Now banished to a remote rocky island in the Atlantic lives a clan of their grotesque descendants. These hideous, deformed creatures stalk the catacombs beneath the rocky shores, emerging to satisfy their thirst for human blood and taste for corpses. One man shares their mutated birthright. Another man holds their death warrant. Both of them converge to face these revolting, goblin-like monsters in a clash of blood where only one species can survive. And like I said, it literally says horrifying tale of incest in the very first sentence. That shows you that I didn't even read the back of this when I bought it. Because again, had no idea that it was not incest or had incest in it at all until I started watching it. And it got real fucking weird. So, how do we want to go into this, guys? How do we want to break this down into things? Does anyone have anything specific that you enjoyed about the movie? Go ahead, Ricky.
I do too.
The one thing that I really enjoyed was the little weapon things that they use, those little claw things, those were really cool. Like the scene when Alice is going to steal the necklace and they drag her under and they just whip it into her calves and pull her down. I was like, oh, okay, that was cool. But other than that, there really wasn't much. I did like the scene where what was her name? Baby Laura, the one that doesn't talk. Towards the end of the climax when she's battling, she jumps down and she's like, "Not today, motherfucker," and throws the knife, and then the other one just runs up and just whips the little claw across her throat. Like, oh damn, she thought she was gonna be the hero. But Matt, anything you liked, or everything's just trash?
I did like a few things. Like you said, I like the little weapons that they used. It looked like they were using not CGI, but practical effects. And I always do appreciate that. I also really like the look of the little goblin people from the waist up. I can't explain really what was happening from the waist down, but the way their face looked and everything, they were kind of cool looking. It was like bat people for some reason that didn't fly. They were just kind of like, scurrying across the ground. And I thought that looked cool as well. But if you venture far past that, or just a little bit past that, there's nothing else in this movie that I really liked. I'm not sure how they got, was it Rucker Howard to do this movie, honestly. I mean, he might have been like Tom and not even read the script. So, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, those are probably the only two things that I think I really cared about in this movie. Tom, what about you?
I'm right there with you guys on both. Right as you were saying, Ricky, when Alice goes into the grave and she's trying to steal that necklace and they grab her, that was when I thought the movie was going to get cool. That it had good effects when it went into her calf, and they pulled her down. I was like, "Fuck yeah, this movie's starting now." And not quite, but it ramped up eventually, I guess. But right in the very beginning of the movie, when you first meet the main actor, the Twilight ripoff, as you're saying, from 30 years beforehand, I hated him instantly. The way he acted, the way he looked like he had a bunch of makeup on and like lipstick too when he was on the boat at the first time, and everything about him I didn't like at all. So I'm kind of not surprised that he was some random incest baby, because he was a piece of shit. He randomly tried to like rape his girlfriend just out of nowhere, there were so many things about him I just didn't like. Yeah. The guys looked cool. The the bleeders or whatever. What was this? Donovan or Sullivan? What was the last name? You guys remember?
Van Damme.
They looked neat, and like you said, from the waist down, I'm not really sure because some didn't even have legs, from what I remember. And it makes me wonder too if they ever used any actors that didn't have legs, because sometimes they actually do that, and it's really neat to me when they employ someone like that to pull off something like that. Even though some people sometimes think it's objectifying somebody, and that's. Like when they use actual freaks in movies and stuff like that, that's another subject. But anyways, yeah, the movie is not great. There was a lot of things that were just kind of. I didn't hate a lot of stuff. The acting was not great. Like I said, the main actor, you're supposed to. I don't know how much to care about him or give too many shits about him realistically, but I didn't like him at all. It didn't want me to care about him whatsoever. One thing I wanted to say that was a little factoid that I found out. How I said there's 3 different names to the movie. The Descendant, I don't know where that name came from whatsoever, to be honest with you. The only difference between Bleeders and Hemoglobin, sorry, I like Goblin much better. Hemoglobin. I'm going to make a movie about that or create a band, Hemoglobin. The difference between those 2 cuts is that there's about a minute taken out of the sex scene. So, Matt, you watched your VHS tape of copy of Bleeders. I actually watched it on Amazon Prime because I was lazy. and that one has the title card of Hemoglobin. So when the sex scene, I'm curious to ask you this, during the sex scene where they're in the kitchen,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a very long scene at all, or was it like pretty quick?
It's probably a minute,
Did you
maybe
see,
two.
did you see her tits and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Because apparently there's about a minute taken out of the version you have in that sex scene. It's about a minute longer, and it focuses very much in this area. It looked like softcore porn when I watched it. Like it kept going.
Oh, so yours is longer than the one on
Yes,
VHS.
the Amazon version titled Hemoglobin has about a minute longer sex scene than the VHS release of Bleeders.
So can you rent the Bleeders version on Amazon, or is it just Hemoglobin?
No, that's the only version that's there.
That's hysterical. Like someone was like, we want that extra minute of sex in this movie if we're gonna stream it.
Get it back in there, because otherwise no one's renting this thing.
No, that
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So yeah, I found that and I thought that was interesting. One other little fact, like we said, it being loosely based on an H.P. Lovecraft story, and The Lurking Fear was the name of the story. There's actually 2 other movies based off of that as well. Dark Heritage in 1989 and Lurking Fear in 1994. I don't know if they're closer related to the original storyline, or if Bleeders is just, something on its own. I really don't know. When it came down to never mind. I'm not going to keep going on that. So, Ricky, tell me some things about the movie that just stuck with you, or you didn't like them, or what the fuck ever.
Man, there was a lot of small shit that I didn't like, but first of all, I mean, the movies, like, as soon as the movie started and after the opening credits, it just, bam, right to the twins fucking. I was like, okay, what the hell did these guys get me into this time? But that was just right off the bat. So they do not sugarcoat the incest part at all. That's like the very first scene. One scene that really bothered me was the kids when they're down in the mortuary area, and they just pour formaldehyde all over that poor dog. I was like, what the hell are y'all doing? Leave the dog alone. Luckily, the dog just takes off and runs away. But yeah, I kind of hated those kids for a minute, and when they first got attacked by the Bleeders, I was like, yeah, that's what you deserve for fucking with that dog. Mrs. Gordon, hated her. Couldn't stand her. It seemed like for the first half of the movie, every line of her dialogue ended with get back to work. I just hated her. She sucked. Other than that, there really wasn't too much that I could add to it. I mean, you already mentioned the attempted rape scene. That was really fucking awkward, and I did not enjoy that at all. But other than that, I mean, that's really all I got. Matt?
Yeah, there's a few things like that you hadn't mentioned yet that I didn't like. I will agree with you though that I didn't like Miss Gordon. She got on my nerves really, really fast, and yeah, the kids as well. They were kind of annoying and just there to kind of draw that emotion out of you because they kill kids in this movie. There's 4 kids and 2 of them bite the bullets. So, and at the end of it, you're just like, whatever. I wasn't emotionally attached to any of these kids in this. They weren't good actors, good characters. One thing I'll start with that I didn't like, conveniently, everyone lives on this island, and more so conveniently, all the men but like 3 are gone, and one of them is just there to find his family. Like he's looking for ancestors, which is our main character. So basically you have this island of women and children, and I don't know, if they had men on it, if you'd be like, oh man, these little people, and they just start just booting them off the island or whatever. So they just use women because they maybe they think, well, they could overcome them easier, but I don't know. I mean, they put up a good fight at the end of the movie, but regardless, it was basically all women on this island, and I just thought that was really, really weird. Um, Second, one of the things I didn't like is what was he craving? Was he craving blood? Was he craving formaldehyde? Dead meat? I mean, there's a lot. They really left that kind of open because, he's like sucking blood out of that kid's arm towards the end of the movie. But he ate the fetus out of the jar that was surrounded by formaldehyde. And they mentioned that as well. And throughout the movie, you have these creatures who are basically just sneaking into graves from under the ground and eating dead people. So I mean, they weren't eating fresh meat. They're eating drained bodies that are just filled up with formaldehyde. And I was kind of confused by that as well. And then there's this, talk of this storm coming in this whole time. We got a storm. We got a storm. We got a storm. We got a storm. And it's not really that bad of a storm. Everything else that's happening is way worse than what's happening in this storm. So I was like, okay, this is kind of just dumb. But yeah, Tom, you have anything to add?
I was going to say, I do think it has something to do with the formaldehyde, only because I don't think they would have brought it up saying, oh, it was soaked in formaldehyde, and again, them eating the corpses out of graves obviously were embalmed and whatnot, so I'm leaning that direction, but either way, I don't really think it matters. The one thing I was telling both of you guys earlier, the grossest thing after learning all about. So, okay. So, I try and sit and piece something together in my brain, and then I just get sidetracked. All of these breeders, same difference, right?
It really is.
Yeah, because they're just all fucking each other. And one of them falls off of a dock or something and lands into the water where a boat has its propellers or whatever on, and it gets chopped up. So guy has swoops him up out of the water and takes it to the doctor, and it's like, doctor, you need to see this. What is this? And so he lays it out on the table and he goes, I don't know, looks human, and starts doing an autopsy just fucking instantly. And finds out that the bleeder has both reproductive organs, male and female, and has to point out that it could fuck itself. Like, why does that need to be said? I have no idea whatsoever. And yeah, right? Yeah, that was disgusting. He stuck not a scalpel, but a medical tool in the animal.
Like a probe.
Yeah, in its vagina, and pulled it out and was like, yeah, it's working. It's like,
He said seminal fluid.
Yeah, not okay, not necessary at all. So in the very, very beginning of the movie, you find out that there's two twins, a girl and a guy. The girl is so infatuated with herself that all she wants to do is fuck her brother, because that's the closest thing she can do to fucking herself, because so far she doesn't have a penis and a vagina like the later bleeders do. So she starts banging, and that's where all of this incest trickles down to these weird little bleeder things. 75 years or however many years later. But now at the very end of the movie, spoilers, the main character who finds out that he is related to these people also finds out he has a sister that's living underground as well, who doesn't quite look like this. She looks a little bit more human, but she's very full on the bottom end. Like, I couldn't remember if she had legs or if anything. And there's a narrator letting everybody know what happened or what is going to happen, right? Talks about how he finds his sister. And the line that the narrator says is, although his sister could make love to herself, she loved him too. This is... I haven't seen many hermaphrodite horror movies. I've seen a few. I definitely have. But this is not what I expected. I don't know. You can rent this movie. and watch it. And yeah, I feel like you should at least once. You know, I really do. Ricky, do you have anything else you would like to add before we put a stamp of stars on this lovely trash heap?
The only other thing I would throw out there is how welcoming the sign was for the hotel that they're staying at, where out front it just says hotel and funeral parlor vacancy. Yeah, that's welcoming. That's exactly where I want to stay.
I know. I want a sign like that, like in front of my garage or something. You know what I mean? That'd be great.
Yeah, that's awesome. But other than that, that's about it.
Fantastic. What would you rate this film?
Oh, let's see. First of all, I will say if you want to watch a movie involving hermaphrodites, skip this one. Go check out Terra Firma. If you want to watch a movie based on what I'm wearing this shirt. If you want to watch a movie based on cannibalistic underground stuff, watch Chud. Daniel Stern. It's great. This movie, man, I'm not gonna put it as low as Psychomania because that's still my lowest of the low. But I can't put it up there with any of the others. So I'm gonna give this one a 1.5. It was a little too weird for me, and I love weird. But as someone with siblings, the incestuous stuff I'm out. Like it's too much. Matt, where are you going with yours?
I thought this was going to be like an instant bomb for you, like the worst movie we've seen yet, and Psychomania still holds that title. Anyways, this is probably the worst movie I've seen out of this like whole thing we've done so far. So I'm going to give this one probably a 1. I think I've rated everything higher up until this point, so I'm going to go with a 1. This was an uncomfortable movie at some parts. There were a few things that stop it from being like a 0.5 or a 0. It basically a couple of the effects and just the overall look of the monsters. But yeah, this movie was so weird. I did have one question though. When the old lady with the shotgun says that they took him away because he was normal, well, his sister looks normal too. So does she mean he's normal because he only has a penis?
I think so.
I'm kind of leaning that way. And when she asked him to take his shirt off because she wanted to look at his chest, was she looking for something specific that I didn't catch? You know, I wasn't sure why. She was like kind of looking at a couple scars he had, but was there something specific that was missing?
Well, I think she was trying to like see if he was still doing the things he was doing as a baby. Because remember, she handed him that thing and said, "This is what we kept on your hands to keep you from scratching," or something like along those lines. So I was maybe she was seeing if he was still doing it as he aged. That's my best guess. They never really explained it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, his sister looked semi-normal. She was just, very she was very pear-shaped and real big on the bottom. But again, I couldn't see if she had legs either, though, so I can't really say if she was normal or not.
It's true.
But if she can love herself, I feel like she has both organs, just like all the other bleeders.
Yeah, that was to me. That was like a real subtle thing they threw in there. I guess to you, it was just like bang right there.
Yeah, no, it hit me in the face. I was like, you guys are gross. You need to cut it out.
Because I did not catch that when I watched it. And then you brought it up. I was like, oh my gosh. But
because, yeah, I don't think she's down there, just loving the person she is. You know what I mean? Like looking in a mirror, be like, oh God, do I love myself? No. Mm-mm. She's got all the right tools and knows how to use them.
Do you think everyone in the town just went on, with normal town life after that, or you think that island was just vacant?
I wonder like what happened when all the men got back and all the women were just like, this shit is crazy. There's these trolls just fucking each other everywhere and trying to eat us and eating all the cemetery people. Who knows? I don't know. I would have got the fuck out of there.
Yeah, same. But yeah. to go back full circle, it's definitely a 1 for me.
1 for you. Okay.
It's a 1. Yep.
Damn. I gave Psychomania 2. I don't know why that's the one I got. We like base it off of this now. It's all your fault, Ricky. I would say there were, I don't know. I liked the little monster dudes and I liked some of the gore and stuff. I wonder if there is a sequel.
Oh God,
I doubt it, but it just
there's
a lot of sequels. But okay, I'm gonna give it a 1.5, which I think is the lowest rating I've given anything yet. Which is still hard for me to do because there were a lot of things in this that were neat. You know, just the monsters were cool in general. I wish I could see more of them. Some of the gore that they had, killing people and stuff, was pretty solid. You know, there was obviously no CGI effects of any sort. It was all practical stuff, but it was pretty gross. And not even like and I've seen gross, you know what I mean? Like, I know both of you totally know what I'm talking about, but it was just like an awkward, uncomfortable gross to an extent, you know?
Yep.
And I don't care, like, never mind, I'm not going to say that. Yeah, it was all right. It was a 1.5 stars, but do yourself a favor and watch it. Go watch it. Find out for yourself. You know, if you see this cool thing on a shelf, buy it because it's neat. You just push blood around on your own VHS tape. Why wouldn't you want to do that? If you find the regular one on the shelf and it's only $1, buy that shit too. Yes, that is a cool looking cover. It really is.
It really is. Like that blood one that you have. I wish they would have put it on the back so people would, like in the movie store, were like having to spread it out to read it. They're like, "What does this say?" But yeah, I hate to say it, as much as I did not like that movie, I'm a little envious of that cover that you have there. And if I see one for a relatively good price, I'm going to buy it. But like you were saying, watch it, whether it be the 1 minute longer sex version on Amazon, or if you find an actual copy of Bleeders, you know, judge it for yourself. Just
I
be ready.
I wonder if there's a copy of Descendants out there. Like if there's an actual, you know, because the weird thing about that is the Amazon version is labeled Descendant, but then the title card in the movie is hemo whatever, you know, and so I'll never be able to say that word correctly. Hemoglobin. Yeah, so I don't know if the Descendant title doesn't actually exist or if it's like a, you know, a Night of the Living Dead situation, which, you know, I just found out that not too long ago, that Night of the Living Dead the title was changed because it was Night of Anubis originally. So when you go back and you watch it, the title card, Night, is in a totally different font of the Living Dead because they had to pull the of Anubis part or whatever and replace it with a different title card, but didn't change Night. Why you wouldn't want to make it all together, I don't know. But I found that out not too long ago, and I thought that was neat. So, anyways, thank you guys for sticking around for another episode 15 of Moving Picture Massacre. We have one movie left in this first season of movies, and what movie is that? Trog.
That just looks like a gem of a movie.
It really does.
Huge pile of crap, I'm assuming.
Does it look like it's black and white on the back?
No, it's color. This was from 1970.
Oh, okay. Ooh. That's not as early as I thought. He kind of looks like the monkey in Devil Dinosaur, just like brought to life in the 70s. That's what it looks like to me. But yeah, so stick around, you guys. We're going to watch that movie, and we're probably going to have a lot to say about it. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. If you like this video, hit that little like button. If you didn't like the video, I'm sorry. We'll try harder. But after season 1, we do have some cool stuff planned for season 2, as well as some physical media coming down the line eventually. I don't want to get too excited and then just never produce something because, people do that kind of stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you both for joining me for a fun little episode about a pretty god-awful movie. And we'll talk to you guys next time.